The Crystal Palace reflected the three suns of Crystallia Prime like a mountain made of diamonds. Ambassador Yuna walked through its halls with measured steps, her crystalline skin shifting from calm blue to worried purple. Behind her, a human followed. His name was Jiho, and he looked nothing like the elegant Valerians around him. Jiho was tall by human standards, with broad shoulders and arms marked with old scars. His face was hard, the kind of face that had seen too many battles. He wore simple black clothing, practical and plain. Everything about him screamed soldier. Everything about him made the Valerian nobles stare and whisper. "The princess will not like this," Yuna said softly, glancing back at Jiho. "She believes she needs no protection." Jiho said nothing. He had learned long ago that words meant little. Actions were what mattered. He had been hired to protect the princess, and that was exactly what he would do, whether she liked it or not. They stopped before massive doors carved from single pieces of crystal. 2 Valerian guards stood on either side, their ceremonial spears gleaming. They looked at Jiho with barely hidden disgust. To them, he was a primitive, a creature from a death world, something that belonged in the darkness of space, not in their beautiful palace. The doors opened. The room beyond was vast, filled with floating lights that danced like fireflies. In the center, sitting on a chair that seemed to grow from the floor itself, was Princess Hana. She was young by Valerian standards, her crystalline skin a soft pink color that showed her youth. Her eyes were large and bright, filled with intelligence and something else. Pride, perhaps, or anger. She wore robes that flowed like water, decorated with gems that caught the light. "So," Hana said, her voice cold as ice, "this is the human." Jiho stepped forward and bowed slightly, not too deep. He was not her servant. He was her protector. There was a difference. "Princess Hana," he said simply. "I told my father I did not need a bodyguard," Hana continued, ignoring his greeting. "I told him that our own guards are sufficient, that hiring humans was unnecessary." 3 attempts on your life in the past 6 months, Jiho said calmly. "Your guards failed to stop any of them. You survived by luck, not by their skill." The room went silent. Ambassador Yuna made a small sound of distress. No one spoke to the princess this way. No one was so direct, so blunt. Hana's skin flashed red. Anger. She stood from her chair, and though she was smaller than Jiho, she looked down at him with all the authority of her position. "How dare you?" "I dare because it is the truth," Jiho interrupted, "and because pretty words will not keep you alive." For a long moment they stared at each other. Hana's red anger slowly faded to orange, then yellow, confusion mixed with fury. She had never met anyone like this human, never met anyone who did not bow and scrape and tell her what she wanted to hear. "You will stay out of my way," Hana said finally. "You will remain silent. You will not embarrass me in front of my people. You will be invisible. Do you understand?" "No," Jiho said. "No?" Hana repeated, her voice rising. "I will be everywhere you are," Jiho explained. "I will check every room before you enter. I will taste your food before you eat. I will stand between you and every door, every window, every possible threat. I will not be invisible. I will be the most visible thing in any room, because that is what keeps you alive." "This is unacceptable." "This is the job," Jiho said. "If you want something else, hire someone else. But know this, princess, every other bodyguard will tell you what you want to hear. They will try to make you comfortable. They will fail, and you will die." The silence that followed was heavy enough to crush stone. Ambassador Yuna looked like she wanted to disappear. The guards by the door gripped their spears tighter, ready to defend their princess against this rude human. But Hana did not call for his removal. Instead, she studied him with those bright eyes. seeing him properly for the first time. She saw the scars on his hands, the way he stood, balanced and ready, even in this peaceful room, the way his eyes never stopped moving, checking exits, watching shadows. "Why do you do this?" she asked quietly. "Why do humans take these jobs, protecting aliens from worlds you have never seen?" Ji-ho considered the question. It was the first real question she had asked. Not an order, not an insult, a question. "Because someone has to," he said. "Because the universe is full of those who take, who destroy, who kill, and someone needs to stand against them." "How very noble," Hana said, but there was less ice in her voice now. "But I suspect you do it for money, like all mercenaries." "The money helps," Ji-ho admitted, "but I could make money in safer ways, easier ways." "Then why?" Ji-ho looked directly at her. "Because I am good at it, because I can save lives, and because someone like you, someone who has never known real violence, deserves to keep living in your beautiful palace without fear." Hana blinked. For a moment, her skin shifted to a soft purple. Surprise. She had expected a crude warrior, a dumb soldier who followed orders. But this human spoke like a philosopher, acted like a professional, treated her not as royalty to be worshipped, but as a person to be protected. "Very well," Hana said, sitting back down. "You will be my bodyguard. But we will do this my way. You will learn our customs. You will not cause scenes. You will remember that you are in the service of the Valerian Empire, and you will conduct yourself accordingly." "I will keep you alive," Ji-ho said. "Everything else is secondary." Hana's skin flashed red again. But this time it faded quickly. She waved her hand in dismissal. "Ambassador Yuna will show you to your quarters. They are next to mine, I am told." "How wonderful." Ji-ho bowed again, that same slight bow. He turned to leave, but Hana's voice stopped him. "Human, what is your name? Your full name?" "Ji-ho," he said. "Just Ji-ho." "Just Ji-ho," Hana repeated. "Try not to embarrass me too badly, just Ji-ho." As he left with Ambassador Yuna, Ji-ho allowed himself the smallest smile. The princess was proud, stubborn, and angry at his presence. But she was also smart. She asked questions. She thought before she spoke, at least sometimes. Keeping her alive would be difficult, but not impossible. Behind him, Princess Hana sat in her beautiful room, surrounded by her beautiful things, and for the first time in her life, she felt something strange, something uncomfortable. She felt like she was being watched, protected, guarded, and she was not sure if she hated it or not. The first week was terrible. Princess Hana made sure of that. She woke at odd hours, forcing Ji-ho to stay alert at all times. She took long walks through the palace gardens, moving quickly, trying to lose him in the twisting paths. She attended 7 different events in a single day, each one requiring different protocols, different security considerations. And through it all, Ji-ho followed, silent, watchful, always 3 steps behind her, always scanning the crowd. "Does he ever rest?" Hana heard a noble whisper at a garden party. "I heard humans do not need sleep," another replied, "that they are half machine, built for war." Hana said nothing, but she wondered. She had not seen Ji-ho sleep, had not seen him eat, though she knew he must. He simply existed, a shadow attached to her, impossible to escape. It was at the garden party that things first went wrong, or right, depending on who you asked. Lord Taiho was there, charming as always. He was a high-ranking noble, beautiful even by Valerian standards, with skin that shifted through pleasant greens and blues. He approached Hana with a crystal glass of amber light, the traditional welcome drink. "Princess," he said, bowing low, "you honor us with your presence." Hana smiled, reaching for the glass. Behind her, Ji-ho moved, fast. His hand shot out and grabbed her wrist, stopping her inches from the glass. "Do not touch it," Jiho said. The garden went silent. Everyone stared. To touch royalty without permission was forbidden. To stop a princess from accepting a traditional greeting was an insult of the highest order. Hana's skin flashed bright red. "Release me, now!" "No," Jiho said. He looked at Lord Taiho. "Step back. Put the glass down slowly." "How dare you!" Lord Taiho's skin shifted to orange. Outrage. "I am Lord Taiho of the High Council. You are nothing but a human mercenary. You have no right—" Jiho ignored him. He pulled Hana back, positioned himself between her and the glass. With his free hand, he took a small device from his belt and held it near the amber light. The device beeped. Once, twice. Then it screamed, a high-pitched wail that made everyone cover their ears. "Poison," Jiho said simply. "Crystalline venom would have stopped her heart in minutes." The garden erupted in chaos. Guards rushed forward. Lord Taiho dropped the glass, his skin flashing through colors too fast to read. Shock, fear, confusion. Hana stared at the shattered glass on the ground, at the liquid that was already eating through the crystal path beneath it. "I did not know," Lord Taiho said quickly. "Someone must have switched the glasses. I would never—" "Save it for the investigators," Jiho said. He finally released Hana's wrist and turned to face her. "Are you hurt?" Hana could not speak. Her skin was white, all color drained away. Shock. Pure shock. She looked at her wrist where Jiho had grabbed her, then at the dissolved path, then at Jiho's calm face. "You," she began. "We are leaving," Jiho said. He spoke into a small device on his collar. "Ambassador Yuna, the princess is returning to her chambers. Send a full security team to the gardens. Possible assassination attempt." He guided Hana away, his hand on her elbow now, gentle but firm. She followed in a daze, her mind trying to catch up with what had just happened. She had been seconds from death, seconds from drinking poison in front of her entire court. And this human, this crude bodyguard she resented, had saved her life. Back in her chambers, Hana sat in silence while Jiho checked every corner, every window, every possible entry point. He worked methodically, efficiently, like this was just another day. When he finished, he finally looked at her. "You should rest," he said. "You embarrassed me," Hana said quietly. "In front of everyone. I kept you alive. You made me look weak, foolish, like I cannot even accept a drink without my human guard protecting me." Jiho pulled up a chair and sat across from her. It was the first time he had sat in her presence, the first time he had treated her like an equal rather than an assignment. "Listen carefully, princess," he said. "I do not care about your dignity. I do not care about your reputation. I do not care if every noble in this empire thinks you are weak. I care about keeping you alive, that is all." "That is not all," Hana's voice rose. "I am princess of the Valerian Empire. My reputation, my dignity, these things matter. They are part of who I am." "A dead princess has no reputation," Jiho said bluntly. "A dead princess has no dignity. A dead princess has nothing." Hana stood abruptly, her skin flashing red again. "Get out!" "No. I command you to leave." "You can command all you want," Jiho said, standing as well. "I am not leaving. I will stay right here, in this room, all night. Because whoever tried to poison you will try again, and next time, they might not be so obvious." They stared at each other, anger and frustration filling the air between them. Finally, Hana turned away, walking to her window. She looked out at the gardens below, at the party continuing without her. "Do you know what it is like?" she asked softly. "To be treated like glass? To have everyone assume you are fragile, delicate, in need of constant protection?" "No," Jiho admitted. "But I know what it is like to die. Hana turned, surprised. Jiho touched a scar on his neck, a long white line that ran from his ear to his collar. "This one should have killed me," he said. "Knife fight on a space station. My opponent was faster, stronger. He cut my throat. I survived because my partner got me to a medical bay in time. 3 minutes later, and I would have been dead." He pointed to another scar on his arm. This one was a plasma burn. Hurt like nothing you can imagine. I survived because I kept fighting through the pain. He met her eyes. "I have died a dozen times, Princess. Each time I survived through luck, skill, or the help of others. So I know something important. I know that life is fragile, that death comes quickly, and that pride means nothing when you are bleeding out on the ground." Hana had no answer to that. She had never been truly hurt, never been in real danger until the assassination attempts began. She lived in a world of beauty and safety, protected by walls and guards and her position. But Jiho lived in a different world, a world where death was common, where survival was never guaranteed. "I am sorry," she said finally, "for being difficult. For trying to lose you in the gardens, for everything." Jiho nodded. "You are forgiven. But understand this. I will continue to be difficult. I will continue to embarrass you. I will continue to treat you like someone who might die at any moment. Because that is what you are. That is what we all are." That night, Hana lay in her bed, unable to sleep. Through the open door to her sitting room, she could see Jiho. He sat in a chair, unmoving, watching the door, watching the windows, watching everything. She had told him to be invisible, but now she was glad he was not. Now she was glad for his presence, his vigilance, his blunt honesty. She was still angry with him, still resented his constant presence. But for the first time, she understood something important. Jiho was not her enemy. He was not trying to control her or diminish her. He was simply trying to keep her alive, and that, she realized, was enough reason to tolerate him. For now. The diplomatic mission to Nexus Point was supposed to be simple. A trade negotiation, some ceremonies, nothing dangerous. Jiho knew better. Nothing was ever simple. The transport ship was luxurious, as everything Valerian was luxurious. Soft lights, comfortable seats, servants attending to every need. Princess Hana sat near the front, reading reports on a crystalline tablet. Jiho stood behind her, as always, watching. They had been traveling together for 3 weeks now. Things had changed between them. Not much, but enough. Hana no longer tried to lose him. She no longer complained when he checked her food. She even spoke to him sometimes, asking questions about Earth, about human culture. Jiho answered truthfully but briefly. He was not there to be her friend. He was there to keep her alive. The attack came without warning. One moment they were cruising through empty space. The next, the ship shuddered violently. Alarms screamed. The lights flickered and died, replaced by emergency red lighting. "Battle stations!" the captain's voice echoed through the ship. "We are under attack! Krath warships! All guards to—" The transmission cut off. Another impact. The ship spun, and Hana was thrown from her seat. Jiho caught her, pulled her close. "Stay with me," he said. "Do not let go." "What is happening?" Hana's skin was white with fear. "We are being boarded," Jiho said. He could hear them already. Footsteps, weapons fire, screams. The Valerian guards were fighting, but they were not warriors. They were ceremonial soldiers who had never seen real combat. The Krath were different. The Krath were born in war. Jiho pulled Hana toward the emergency exit. They needed to reach the escape pods. But the corridor outside was chaos. Valerian crew members ran in panic. Bodies lay on the ground, crystalline blood spreading like spilled rainbows. Then Jiho saw them. Krath soldiers. 3 of them, moving down the corridor with military precision. They were larger than Valerians with thick armor and weapons that crackled with energy. Go, Jiho said, pushing Hana toward a side passage. Run, find the escape pods. What about you? I will hold them. Go, now. Hana ran. Jiho did not watch her go. He was already moving forward, toward the Krath soldiers. He had no armor, no energy weapons. Just a simple plasma pistol and a combat knife. It would have to be enough. The first Krath saw him and laughed. A human, alone, foolish. He raised his weapon, but Jiho was faster. He fired twice. The shots hit the Krath's weapon, destroying it. Then Jiho was there, inside the soldier's guard, his knife finding the weak points in the armor. Throat, joints, exposed areas. The Krath fell, surprised. His companions were not. They opened fire, but Jiho was already moving, using the fallen soldier's body as cover. He returned fire, precise shots that forced them back. One charged forward. Jiho met the charge, sidestepped, and his knife flashed. The Krath stumbled, bleeding. Jiho finished him with a shot to the head. The third Krath was smarter. He retreated, calling for reinforcements. Jiho pursued, knowing he could not let them regroup. Could not let them find Hana. The fight moved through the ship. More Krath appeared. Jiho fought them all, using every trick he knew. He was wounded now, bleeding from a dozen cuts, but he did not stop. Could not stop. He found Hana in a sealed chamber, hiding with other survivors. She saw him, covered in blood, limping, and her eyes went wide. Jiho! We need to move, he said. The ship is dying. The escape pods are 2 levels down. You are hurt. I am fine. Move, now. They moved. The group followed, trusting the human warrior who had somehow survived against impossible odds. They reached the escape pod bay, but it was not empty. More Krath soldiers waited there, guarding the pods. Jiho counted quickly. 8 soldiers, too many, even for him. Stay here, he told Hana. When I engage them, run for the pods. You will die, Hana said. She was crying now, her skin shifting through colors of fear and sorrow. Maybe, Jiho agreed, but you will live. That is what matters. He stepped into the bay. The Krath saw him immediately. They raised their weapons. Jiho fired first, dropped one, then another. Then they were all firing, and the world became light and sound and pain. But Jiho did not fall. He kept moving, kept shooting, kept fighting. Because this was what humans did. This was what made them terrifying. They did not stop. They did not surrender. They fought until there was nothing left to fight with. 3 Krath down. 4, 5. Jiho's pistol was empty now. He threw it at the 6th soldier, stunning him, then charged with his knife. The fight was brutal, close, desperate, and then, impossibly, it was over. 8 Krath soldiers lay dead or dying, and Jiho stood among them, bleeding, barely conscious but standing. Pods, he said. Get to the pods. The survivors ran. Hana did not. She ran to Jiho, caught him as he fell. You stupid human, she sobbed. You stupid, brave, impossible human. Pods, Jiho repeated. Get everyone to the pods. I am not leaving you. Jiho wanted to argue, but he had no strength left. Hana dragged him to a pod, somehow found the strength to pull his weight. Others helped. They sealed the pod and launched, escaping just as the transport ship exploded behind them. The pod drifted for hours before rescue came. In that time, Hana held Jiho, kept pressure on his wounds, refused to let him die. She talked to him, told him stories about her childhood, about her world, about anything she could think of to keep him conscious. Why? Jiho asked at one point. Why are you doing this? Because you saved me, Hana said simply. Because you almost died for me. Because you are mine to save now. Jiho smiled, just a little. That is not how it works. It is now, Hana said firmly. You protect me. I protect you. That is how it works. When rescue finally came, Jiho was unconscious. The medical team took him immediately, their expressions grave. Hana followed, refusing to leave his side. "He will die," one of the doctors said. "He has lost too much blood. His injuries are too severe." "He will not die," Hana said, and her voice had the weight of royal command behind it. "You will save him. You will use every resource available. You will not let him die. Princess, we will try." "But you will succeed," Hana said, "because if he dies, I will have you all executed for failure." It was an empty threat. Hana would never execute doctors for trying their best. But it worked. They heard the desperation in her voice, the fear, the need. They worked for 18 hours straight, and somehow, impossibly, Jiho survived. When he woke, Hana was there. She had not slept, had not eaten, had not left his side. "You are awake," she said, and her skin was the brightest gold he had ever seen. Joy, pure joy. "Told you? I was fine," Jiho said, his voice weak. Hana laughed and cried at the same time. "You are the worst liar I have ever met." "Part of my charm." Hana took his hand, held it carefully. "Thank you," she said, "for everything, for fighting, for surviving, for being you." Jiho squeezed her hand. "Just a little." "Just doing my job?" "No," Hana said firmly. "You did far more than your job. You are far more than just a bodyguard. You are—" She paused, searching for the word. In her language, there was a word for someone who was not family by blood, but by choice, by bond, by sacrifice. "You are mine," she said finally. "And I am yours. Do you understand?" Jiho did, and for the first time since he had met her, he smiled. A real smile, warm and genuine. "I understand, Princess." "Hana," she corrected. "My name is Hana. Use it." "I understand. Hana." Recovery was slow. Jiho spent 3 weeks in the medical ward, his body healing from wounds that should have killed him. Hana visited every day, sometimes for hours, sitting beside his bed and talking. They talked about everything, about Earth, that harsh world where humans learn to survive against impossible odds, about Crystallia Prime, that peaceful world where beauty and art mattered more than strength, about their lives, their fears, their hopes. "Tell me about Earth," Hana said one afternoon. "What is it really like?" Jiho thought for a moment. "It is beautiful and terrible. We have oceans that can swallow cities, mountains that touch the sky, storms that tear apart everything in their path, and life, everywhere fighting to survive. It sounds frightening." "It is," Jiho agreed. "But it is also home. It made us what we are, strong, stubborn, unwilling to give up." Hana was quiet for a while. Then she asked, "Is that why you fight so hard? Because your world taught you to never surrender?" "Maybe," Jiho said. "Or maybe I fight because I have seen what happens when no one does. I have seen innocent people die because no one stood between them and evil. I decided long ago that I would not let that happen if I could prevent it." "Even if it costs you your life?" "Even then." Hana's skin shifted to a deep blue. Sadness. "That is a heavy burden to carry. Someone has to carry it." "But why you? Why do humans always choose to be the ones who stand guard?" Jiho looked at her, seeing the genuine curiosity in her eyes. "Because we can. Because we are built for it, shaped by our world. And because someone like you should not have to see the darkness, should not have to know what it is like to kill or to watch others die." "I saw darkness on that ship," Hana said quietly. "I saw you fight, saw you kill. It was terrible, and beautiful, and terrifying. I am sorry you had to see that." "I am not," Hana said firmly. "I needed to see it, needed to understand what you do, what you sacrifice." She took his hand. "I will never take that for granted again." When Jiho finally left the medical ward, everything had changed. He walked differently now, slower, more careful. The wounds had healed, but they had left their mark. Hana noticed immediately. "You are in pain," she said. "Always," Jiho admitted. "Old wounds never fully heal, but I can still do my job." "I know you can," Hana said. "I have never doubted that." They returned to the Crystal Palace, but the peace did not last long. The investigation into the assassination attempts had uncovered something terrible. There was a traitor in the court, someone high-ranking, someone with access to the royal family. Emperor Junho called a meeting of the High Council. Hana attended with Jiho standing behind her. The council chamber was magnificent, a circular room with a domed ceiling that showed the stars above. "We have a problem," the emperor said. His voice was tired, old. He had ruled for 300 years, and the weight of those years showed. "Someone among us has betrayed the empire. Someone has given information to the Krath, information that led to the attack on my daughter's transport." The council members shifted uncomfortably. Their skin colors flickered with anxiety and fear. "We must find this traitor," Prince Minho said. He was Hana's older brother, heir to the throne, and he looked at the council with suspicion. "We must root them out and make an example of them." "Agreed," said Chancellor Nari. "But how? Any of us could be the traitor. We all had access to the transport's route." "Perhaps we should start with those who opposed hiring human bodyguards," Prince Minho said. His eyes fell on Lord Taiho, who sat quietly at the far end of the chamber. Lord Taiho's skin flushed orange. "You dare accuse me? I am loyal to the Empire. I have served the royal family for 50 years. And yet you were the one who offered poisoned amberlight to my sister," Minho said coldly. "I was used. Someone switched the glasses. I would never—" "Enough," the Emperor said. "We will not solve this through accusations." He looked at Jiho. "Human, you have experience with such matters. What would you do?" Jiho stepped forward. All eyes turned to him. Some looked at him with respect now, after hearing what he had done on the transport ship. Others still looked at him with disgust, seeing only a primitive warrior. "Set a trap," Jiho said simply. "Announce a false plan, something important, something the Krath would want to stop. Tell only the council members, each one separately. Tell each one a slightly different detail. And when the Krath act, we will know who told them," Emperor Junho said, nodding slowly. "Clever, brutal, but clever." "That is a human solution," Lord Taiho said dismissively. "All violence and deception. We Valerians prefer truth and honor." "Your truth and honor did not save the princess," Jiho said. "My violence and deception did." The council was silent. No one could argue with that. The plan was set in motion. Each council member was told that Princess Hana would be traveling to a different location for a secret meeting. Each location was different. Each date was different. Then they waited. 3 days later, the Krath attacked the location that Lord Taiho had been told. They came in force, expecting to find Princess Hana. Instead, they found human soldiers led by Captain Do-hyun, Jiho's old military friend. The battle was short and brutal. The Krath were captured, and under questioning, they revealed everything. Lord Taiho had been working with the Krath for years, giving them information, undermining the empire from within. When the guards came to arrest him, Lord Taiho tried to run. He made it 3 steps before Jiho stopped him, one hand on his collar, lifting him off the ground like he weighed nothing. "You tried to kill her," Jiho said quietly. "You gave that poison. You arranged the attack on the transport." "She is weak," Lord Taiho spat. "She and her father, they make the empire soft, hiring humans, making alliances with inferior species. The Krath understand strength. They understand—" Jiho's hand tightened. "You understand nothing. Strength is not about domination. It is not about proving you are better than others. Strength is standing between those you care about and those who would harm them. That is real strength." He dropped Lord Taiho into the arms of the guards. "Take him away." That night, Hana found Jiho on a balcony overlooking the city. He stood in silence, watching the lights below. "You were right," Hana said, joining him. "About everything. About the danger, about needing protection, about not caring about dignity when life is at stake." "I take no pleasure in being right," Jiho said. "I know." Hana reached into her robes and pulled out something small and glowing. A crystal pendant, shaped like a star. "This is a family crystal. We give them to those we consider family, not by blood, but by bond." She held it out to him. Jiho stared at it, understanding the weight of what she was offering. "Hana, I am just your bodyguard. You are not just anything," Hana interrupted. "You saved my life, multiple times. You almost died for me. You are—" She struggled with the words. "You are the person I trust most in this universe. You are family. Please, accept this." Jiho took the pendant carefully. It was warm, pulsing gently with light. He put it around his neck, and it settled against his chest, glowing brighter. "Thank you," he said softly. "No, thank you. For everything." Hana stood beside him, looking out at the city. "There is going to be another attack, is there not? A bigger one?" "Yes," Jiho said. "The Krath will not stop, not until your family is destroyed or they are defeated." "Then we will be ready," Hana said. "Together." "Together," Jiho agreed. They stood in silence, human and Valerian, bodyguard and princess, watching the peaceful city and knowing that war was coming. The Grand Unity Festival was the most important celebration in the Valerian Empire. For 3 days, the royal family appeared in public, hosting ceremonies, greeting citizens, celebrating peace and prosperity. It was tradition. It was expected. It was also the perfect time to strike. Jiho stood in the security command center, studying maps and reports. Captain Do-yun stood beside him, along with a dozen other human bodyguards hired to protect the royal family. Around them, Valerian guards watched nervously. "They will hit us hard," Do-yun said. "Everything we captured from the Krath suggests a major assault." "I know," Jiho said. He pointed to several locations on the map. "The palace has 17 different venues for the festival. The royal family will be spread out, exposed. We do not have enough people to protect them all." "So what do we do?" "We keep them together. One location. Maximum security. We turn this into a fortress." Prince Minho, who had been listening, shook his head. "The people expect to see us. Tradition demands we appear at all the venues. We cannot change that." "Then tradition will get you killed," Jiho said bluntly. "Perhaps," Minho said. "But some things are worth dying for. Our connection to our people is one of them." It was the first time Minho had spoken respectfully to Jiho. The first time he had acknowledged that there might be value in human directness. But he still disagreed. "Then we do it your way," Jiho said. "But we do it smart. The Emperor and Empress stay here, in the palace throne room, maximum security. The rest of you rotate through the venues in unpredictable patterns. We keep moving, keep changing, never give them a clear target." "That could work," Do-yun said. Minho considered, then nodded. "Very well. But I want human guards at every venue. If the Krath come, they will face Earth's finest." The first day of the festival passed without incident. Hana attended 3 ceremonies. Jiho never more than 2 steps behind her. She smiled, greeted her people, acted every bit the graceful princess. But Jiho could see the tension in her movements, the way her skin occasionally flickered white with fear. "It will be today," she said quietly as they traveled between venues. "I can feel it." "Maybe," Jiho said. "Or tomorrow. Or never. We cannot know. We can only be ready." "Are you frightened?" Jiho considered lying, then decided against it. "Yes, always. Fear keeps you alive. It makes you careful." "I am terrified," Hana admitted. Not of dying, but of losing people I care about. Of losing you. You will not lose me, Jiho said. I promise. It was a promise he should not have made, a promise no one could keep. But he made it anyway, because she needed to hear it. The attack came during the evening ceremony. Hana was giving a speech in the Great Garden, surrounded by thousands of citizens. The sky above was dark, filled with stars. It should have been beautiful. Then the stars started falling. They were not stars. They were Krath drop pods, dozens of them, slamming into the ground around the garden. The pods opened, and soldiers poured out. Not just soldiers, elite warriors, armed with the best weapons the Krath had. Panic erupted. Citizens screamed and ran. Valerian guards tried to form a defensive line, but they were unprepared for this level of violence. The Krath cut through them easily. Jiho grabbed Hana and pulled her toward the palace. Run! Do not stop! But there were Krath ahead too, cutting off their escape. They were surrounded, trapped. Exactly what the Krath had planned. Captain! Jiho shouted into his communicator. We are under attack. Great Garden. Send everyone! On our way, Doyun's voice came back. Hold out for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. An eternity in combat. Jiho looked at the Krath advancing from all sides, looked at Hana behind him, her skin white with terror. Looked at the other human bodyguards, 3 of them, forming a protective circle. 5 minutes, Jiho said to them. We hold for 5 minutes. They held. The fight was brutal beyond description. The Krath came in waves, professional and merciless. The human bodyguards met them with everything they had. Plasma fire lit up the garden. Blood, both red and crystalline, stained the ground. 1 human fell, then another. But they took 10 Krath with each death, their final moments a testament to human stubbornness. Jiho fought at the center, protecting Hana. His body moved on instinct. Every lesson from every battle guiding him. He was hit twice, 3 times, but he did not fall. Could not fall, not while Hana lived. And then, impossibly, he saw him. General Jiwon, the Krath commander, tall, armored, moving through the chaos with deadly grace. He was coming straight for Hana. Stay here, Jiho told Hana. Do not... But Jiho was already moving. He intercepted General Jiwon halfway across the garden. Their eyes met, human and Krath, and they understood each other perfectly. This was the moment. This would decide everything. They fought. It was not like the other fights. General Jiwon was skilled, experienced, powerful. He moved like death itself, and his weapons sang with lethal intent. But Jiho had something the general did not. He had a reason to fight beyond duty or honor. He had someone behind him worth dying for. They traded blows, neither giving ground. Jiho was wounded again, a deep cut across his chest, but he used the pain, channeled it, turned it into fury and determination, and slowly, impossibly, he began to win. General Jiwon realized it too late. He tried to retreat, but Jiho would not let him. One final strike, and the Krath general fell. The remaining Krath, seeing their commander defeated, hesitated. That moment of hesitation was all Captain Dohyun needed. He and the reinforcements arrived, crashing into the Krath from behind. The battle turned. The Krath broke and ran. Jiho stood in the center of the garden, surrounded by bodies, bleeding from a dozen wounds. He turned to check on Hana, and his legs gave out. He collapsed. Hana screamed. She ran to him, fell to her knees beside him. "No, no, you promised! You promised you would not leave me!" "I am not leaving," Jiho said, though his voice was weak. "Just resting. Someone help!" Hana shouted. "Please, someone help him!" Medical teams rushed forward. They worked frantically, trying to stop the bleeding, trying to save him. Around them, the battle was ending. The Krath were defeated, captured, or dead. The festival was over. But none of that mattered to Hana. All that mattered was the human bleeding out in her arms. "Stay with me," she whispered. "Please, stay with me." Jiho smiled just a little. "I am yours, remember? I cannot leave. You would not let me." "That is right," Hana said, crying. "You are mine, and I am not letting you go. Do you hear me? You do not get to die." Jiho wanted to answer, but the darkness was closing in. He had lost too much blood, fought too hard. Even human endurance had limits. But then he felt something, warmth spreading through his chest. The crystal pendant Hana had given him was glowing, bright as a star. Valerian crystals were living things, connected to the life force of their people. And this crystal, given in love and friendship, was sharing that life force with him now. The doctors stared in amazement. "His wounds. They are closing, and I have never seen anything like this." Jiho opened his eyes. The darkness retreated. He looked at Hana, at her tear-stained face, at her skin glowing gold with joy and relief. "Told you," he said. "Not leaving." Hana laughed and cried at the same time. She held him carefully, mindful of his wounds, and whispered, "You impossible, stubborn, wonderful human." The aftermath took days to resolve. The Krath assault had been massive, but it had failed. The royal family survived. The empire stood strong, and the human bodyguards became heroes, their sacrifice and courage honored by all. Emperor Junho held a ceremony in the throne room. The surviving human guards stood before him, with Jiho at their center. The emperor, ancient and wise, looked at them with genuine respect. "You have saved my family," he said. "You have proven that humanity is not primitive or crude. You are warriors of the highest order, guardians, protectors, and you have earned a place of honor in our empire forever." He placed medals around their necks, each one a crystal star similar to the one Hana had given Jiho. "You are family now, all of you. Welcome." Later, at a reception, a young Valerian noble approached Hana. He had watched the battle from a safe distance, had seen everything. "Princess Hana," he said nervously, "may I ask you a question?" "Of course." "Who stands guard between you and danger?" It was a traditional question, one asked of all royalty. The expected answer was, "My guards," or "my army," or "the strength of the empire." But Hana looked across the room at Jiho. He stood with Captain Dohyun, laughing at something, looking more relaxed than she had ever seen him. The crystal pendant glowed softly on his chest, marking him as family. "My human," Hana said simply. "My human stands guard between me and danger." The noble nodded. "And who stands guard for your human?" Hana smiled. "I do. We guard each other. That is how it should be." That evening, Hana found Jiho on their balcony, his favorite place. He stood looking at the city, now peaceful again, now safe. "You know you do not have to stay," Hana said, joining him. "Your contract is complete. The threat is over. You could return to Earth if you wanted." "I could," Jiho agreed. But I think I am needed here, with you, if you will have me." Hana's skin turned the brightest gold imaginable, pure happiness. "Always, for as long as you wish to stay." They stood together watching the city lights, and Jiho realized something important. He had spent his whole life fighting, protecting, standing guard. He had thought it was a burden, a duty, something he did because someone had to. But here, with Hana, it was different. It was not a burden. It was a choice, a gift, a bond that went both ways. He protected her. She protected him. They guarded each other. And that, he realized, was what it truly meant to stand guard between someone and danger. It was not about duty or honor or following orders. It was about caring for someone so much that you would face anything to keep them safe. and knowing they would do the same for you. Thank you, Jiho said quietly. For what? For seeing me, not as a weapon or a tool or just a bodyguard, but as a person, as family. Hana took his hand. Thank you for being exactly who you are, for being my human. They stood together under the stars, human and Valerian, bound by something stronger than duty, deeper than friendship. They stood together, and they would continue to stand together, guarding each other against whatever dangers the universe might bring, because that was what family did, and they were family now.